Hey guys, so I've gotten lots of requests to do a video on how to make trainers. I pretty much talked about it in the other one, but people want to see how it's actually done. And I figured I'd give it to you the most simple way possible. So all you're going to need for this is a cutting board, a hacksaw blade. You don't even need an actual hacksaw. You can pick up like a 4-pack of these at the dollar store for, $1. And a little bit of sandpaper. I've got some 60 grit and then a sanding block here. So the first thing you're going to do is lay out your knife. I'm using this top edge here so that a little less cutting I have to do. I've already traced it on there with a pencil, but you just run the pencil around like so and get a nice line. And then once you've done that, I like to go back and on the tip here, since we don't really need a tip since this is going to be a drone or a trainer and that's less than ideal to have, I just round it off. Get that mark on there for later. This pencil doesn't seem to want to work right now. Alright, there we go. So you can kind of see how it's a little bit rounded off. It doesn't follow our exact point, which is fine. Alright, so I also got a pair of gloves just for being able to grip the hacksaw better. They give the rubber hand or rubber grip to them. So let me go ahead and start doing this. And like I said, you just need a hacksaw blade. You don't need a hacksaw itself, just because this is very soft material, and so you don't need the extra rigidity that you get from the actual hacksaw. So I'm going to start cutting into it. I'm just going to cut it out into a block, and then I'll go shaping it from there. So let me start cutting on it. Actually, might be easier to do it on end. Alright, so I got my square blank cut out, and you can see just rough cut it. I got close to the edge here, so I would have to do less sanding. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and take my hacksaw blade again and just cut around the edges, get it close, and then we'll move on to the sandpaper. I wanted to show you here too. This is just a cutting board from Walmart. Forget what the original dimensions were, but it's not super thick or anything, just a regular plastic cutting board. I've already gotten a Karambit, a Emerson Commander trainer out of it, and now I'm doing a Strider SNG out of it. And there's still enough here to do maybe one, maybe two more knives. So, and this was $7, so I mean it doesn't get better than that. So I discard that, and then let me get on to shaping this. And so, I mean, it's pretty simple. You just, same thing as before, get it started. And that'll probably be close enough for whenever I get to sanding, because I got some 60 grit, which will get in there. For areas like in here, where you have the finger trowels and whatnot, what you can do is actually cut in. Anybody who's used a scroll saw or a band saw before, or even a jigsaw, would know what I'm talking about. But we're going to make some relief cuts just to let me spin this around so I can see what I'm doing. You just want to come close to touching the line, or even a little bit behind it, and then make another one a little bit further over from the original. And let me clear that out so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so you kind of see what I'm doing. I'm cutting up to the line just about, but not quite there. And what happens is whenever I come in then with the saw to like cut out this area, this will help keep the blade from binding. It'll also just pop out those little pieces so that I'm not working with a giant chunk here that I'm trying to cut out. It makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and cut around the rest of this as close as I can, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do whenever I start sanding. Alright, so now I have my trainer roughed out, and whenever I say rough, I mean it is rough. You can see all the saw marks and that, and of course all the edges and stuff. So now we got to go back over this with sandpaper and clean it up, try and bring it up to our lines, and just make everything softer, both the handle and also up here on the end too, because while these are still hard trainers, you definitely want that rounded. You don't want it sharp in any way, because you don't want to do damage to anybody you're training with. So let me go ahead and start sanding on this. I'm going to start with 60 grit just to knock it down. And if you can see already, the 60 grit's pretty aggressive. It's already starting to knock out both the cut lines, which don't really matter if they're gone or not as long as they're smooth, and also the edges, so that you can run your finger back and forth on this. It's not sharp, it's not a 90 degree. So let me get sanding on this and then I'll get back to you. Alright, so this isn't 100% done. It still needs a little bit more smoothing out just here in the finger twirl areas and stuff, and a little bit shaping done. Like right here there's a little bit of a hump. But for the most part that's done. No sharp edges, tip's nice and rounded, everything's nice and smooth. By using the edge of the cutting board back here, I saved myself some time because it's already rounded and smooth. So if you can use the edge of the cutting board, go ahead and do that. Otherwise there's a little bit more work for you. And then to give you an idea of how this lines up, there you go. A little bit, you see a little more shape in there at the end, but I actually can leave that a little bit wide just so that it's a little more rounded at the tip. But back here at the handle, it lines up pretty well. You can see it. Now if I wanted to take this a little bit further, instead of leaving it like this, I could go ahead and cut in using a round file the jimping on the spine here of the blade and also the handle, and then of course in the back here I could also cut in on the back doing the same thing using a round file. I could also cut out the hole if I wanted to, but seeing how this is a drone for a folder and it's obviously fixed and there's no folding involved, it doesn't really matter, so I'm going to leave the hole out. So all I got to do is a little bit more finishing on this and I'm done with it. But that's pretty much how this is done, guys. So that's how you can do it with literally, including the cutting board, less than $10 in materials. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think, and if you could, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching.